Right, Yogi. So I was going to start us on the back this morning, laying on our blocks here. Not going to hold this posture too long, but it's really such a fantastic pose. We kind of don't do often enough. Upper block, first block on the upper back, second block on your head. Think of this as an opportunity to meditate while you're still getting a big release in the body. Second block could be for your head. If you're feeling good, you can put the block lower or even your head on the floor, okay? Soles of the feet together, knees can fall open. I like to bring the arms straight to the T here, start to open up the chest and the pec shoulder area. So let's just settle here for a minute to two, starting to connect to our breath, maybe bringing the breath into the abdomen. So one of our main breathing practices is to practice using the breath to not let your mind wander. And I use this all the time when I'm falling asleep or, if I get kind of over busy in the mind. As you inhale, you follow the breath with the mind's eye or your awareness. You follow the breath rising, and say your mind wanders to some thought process. You bring it back to the meditation on the breath rising. And then you start to exhale, you're watching the breath falling. Oh, and then you get distracted, you bring it back to the breath falling. That the yogis talk about how that's one of the best methods to induce meditative mind and body. That's simple. You're inhaling, watching the breath rise, following it. Oh, you get distracted, bring it back to the breath rising. And then you start to exhale, the breath is falling. Oh, you get distracted in thinking. No, bring it back to the breath falling. All right. Remember that yoga by Patanjali was described as starting to control the mind from being so crazy and all over the place. Okay, last moments here. All right, yogis, feel free to stay longer if you'd like. Help the knees back together, maybe help your head up. Let's use our core and arms to sit up. Remember to just personalize it. If that feels good, stay another few minutes, right? You're going to make your way off your props and make your way onto your back, starting with your knees into your chest. Just take like maybe 1 minute for intuitive feel-good movements. I'll just run through them, circling your knees together would massage out your sacrum, rolling out your ankles and toes, kind of spreading your toes, pointing and flexing the feet. Another nice one is to eventually kind of bend and straighten your knees or even shake your legs out. Drawing circles with your knees kind of away from your body together toward your chest and then wide is another different movement here. And then the final thing I'll kind of suggest is just placing your feet down at the edges of your mat and then kind of windshield wiping. So just think like light movements to start. So what we're going to do is go into one round of bridge movements followed by a bridge hold, okay? You're always welcome to add one-legged, angled bridges, block between your thighs, heel lifts, anything that's kind of calling to you, all right? Eventually, feet right down your sit bones, arms down by side, press your lower back arch down, using your core, hover your hips like a 1/4 inch, and then press through your big toe and your heels, slowly peel the lower back up, finding that bridge pose, okay? And then you're going to lower down nice and slow, vertebrae by vertebrae. And I want you to think a little bit more moving bridge to start here. Not necessarily going for peak strength, But think about it like using it to warm up and for the first activation of the back body. If you want more challenge, you can always do it on one leg. All right. You don't really need to be warmed up for that either. You know, people are coming off like spinal surgeries, and physical therapists will have people do one-legged bridge when their whole back is atrophied in their glutes, right? So you can do one-legged very safe early. Just go really slow and try to feel the quality muscular contractions. Definitely use your breath in that movement. Now, after you do about 6, maybe 10 up and down, try to hold one a little bit longer and work on a little bit more detail. So bigger movements into like subtle body awareness. You're pressing the big toe down, pushing the heels down. Don't let the knees buckle in or out. You're trying to pull those heels toward your shoulders. Now, posterior tilt is the tricky one. You're lifting your hips, but you want to start to turn your pelvis posteriorly, which means bring your pubic bone up. It's like you're tucking your tailbone between your legs more. So it's like your navel goes lower than your pubic bone. All right. That is actually very key for a really productive bridge pose. Okay, so that's one nice round of bridge there. Let's bring our hips down to the floor. Start working the core a little bit here, yogis. Now, easier is to just keep your knees bent, knees over hips. More challenging is legs straight, okay? Arms down, lower back down. Let's just go kind of slow. Right leg goes forward for the pause. And then it comes back up. Left leg goes forward. Again, it's not like peak strength. You're feeling your lower back arch press down. Exhale it up. If you're feeling good, both legs go forward. Back up. Okay, a couple more. Right leg goes forward. Like I said, like a little bit easier today, but still working. Left leg goes forward, inhale. Exhale it back up. Inhale, both legs go forward. Few more. If you want a little bit more, you can lift your head or even your shoulder blades and do the exact same exercise. Okay? Easier is knees bent. Stronger is legs straight. Stronger is going slower. But try not to like just, really move the legs too fast because you're probably not going to get that much quality tension. You want the muscles to have to work here. So moving slower, okay? So last few moments with kind of your abs, and instead of using a plank to do the front body here, we're using this. Pretty much the same. And remember, if you're not feeling up to it this morning, you can skip this, do the dead bug from gentle yoga, which would be quite similar. You're still gonna get the moving legs, but it won't be as nearly as tense, okay? So when you're down there, let's take our first twist. We're gonna do a little bit different twist now, yogis. You're gonna release your legs here. If you want a quick full body stretch, that might feel good. Just kind of lengthening out after our bridge. And we're gonna eventually bring our arms wide here. Now, start this slow, right? I'm gonna bring my left knee into the chest and then over to the right. So it's kind of going toward my right arm, but I'm not forcing it, okay? And then I'm gonna slowly control it back. You notice how we're kind of moving, right? Get that blood flow and that body keep building. Right knee over to the left, okay? So it's kind of into the chest and over. And I'm not going to my deepest twist probably yet. Right foot back down. Left knee in and across. Inhale it back. Exhale it, right knee in across. Last few. Your head can go to the opposite side. As you bring your left knee in and across to the right, your head can go to the left. Okay, so your head's kind of falling to the opposite side of the knee. And you can do different twists, right, where both knees are moving. You can hold if you'd like. We tend to hold these twists more. So sometimes it's good to notice that pattern in certain body spaces and activations. Are we moving too much? Are we holding always? Maybe approaching the opposite intention often. That's kind of like a high knee, right? We do that in all types of fitness, except we're adding a more complex body motion, the transverse or horizontal abduction and adduction, creating our spinal rotation.
So it's a really nice exercise. Pretty big though for this early in class. All right, yogis, we're going to meet back in the center. I'm not even going to have you hold because we're going to do that in a moment with the strap. One more good bridge, all right? Feet down, arms down. If you got a little extra, throw your block between your thighs for some stronger inner thigh work. Press your lower back down. Let's lift those hips. Here's a space where you might want to add a single leg, even if you kind of just lift for a moment. Really nice way to really strengthen your glutes. Still work your posterior tilt. Pubic bone higher than navel. Squeezing your heels to your shoulders, but pressing the big toe down. Okay? After a couple breaths, you place your left foot down and lift your right leg, second leg. Big inhale. Please take your time. Work at your pace for your body this morning. Both feet down, hips down, knees into chest, or if you need a little bit of kind of windshield wipe, I like to do here after the single leg bridge. I like to do rotational movements like that after really strong activations. Strap stretching. We're not going to hold too long, yogis. Personalize it for your body today. Strap around the ball of your right foot. Hands on your strap, left leg releases, right leg more straight. Does not have to be locked straight. Often, when I strap stretch, I'll do both. I'll kind of bend the knee like this. See how it's kind of micro bend? But then I'll work on straightening the leg a little bit more and flexing my foot more. It's different. How do you tend to do it, okay? A few more breaths here. With the right leg up, pulling gently on your strap. Deep inhale in your nose. Deep exhale. Listen, second part, it's not opening the hip. Left hand takes the strap. Right leg goes to the left about 12, 18 inches. So about a foot, foot and a half. My right hip stays on the floor. You're turning the sole of your right foot to the left. You're going to feel a weird burning, achy sensation through the back, outer, right leg, and shin. Last few moments here. So in case you need another angle, right? We were here first, now we're here. Third part, right hand takes strap, still around your right foot. Right leg opens to the right, pulling the right foot more toward the right ear, shoulder area. Feeling a nice inner thigh opening here. Breathe in. And here's where we take that final twist. Right leg up and over to the left. Again, you might want to scoot your hips a little right just to keep that body nice and long. Right arm reaches out. Big breath here. Now go really slow. Bring the leg up. Extra pulling in the center if you'd like. We're basically going to release the right leg and bring that left knee in and get right to it here on this side. In gentle yoga, I kind of have you do it slower. But stronger yoga, we kind of just move right through it, okay? Eventually, the strap around the ball of the left foot. Again, it's like the padding of the foot. You notice how the strap isn't like the middle of my foot, the arch? It's more right below the toes. All right, just to get behind your Achilles, the calf, and the knee a little bit more. Again, I can bend the knee a little bit. Just to be clear, you can bend the knee and straighten it in all those parts for different effects. Okay, let's breathe here. Second part is where your right hand takes your left leg to the right, not the twist. It's an outer hip, leg, shin stretch. It's supposed to be like a pigeon, actually. So the right leg goes to the left leg goes to the right, about a foot, foot and a half. You might want to put, the left hip might try to hike up, crunch your side body. Don't let it. Last few breaths here. Again, you can turn the sole of your left foot to the right. It's a very subtle movement that you'll feel light up the outer left shin, lower leg. Third part, your pace. I'm just reminding you, move when you're ready. Left hand takes left leg out wide down. Now, most days you probably don't want your right hip kind of just lifting. You roll it down, lengthen through your side bodies and pull. But some days I do let my left hip roll up a little bit. Not necessarily always wrong, yogis. So if I was personalizing this, my left inner thigh there is a lot tighter than anything else I found. My left leg feels tighter in general, so I'd probably stretch the left leg a little bit more. Our fourth and final part of our left leg here before we come off of our back is taking that big twist. My right hand takes the left leg over to the right. I lengthen through my legs and spine. Left arm out. Last 2 to 3 breaths here.
Now go slow, yogis. We'll come back to center. We'll meet with the knees into the chest. If you want a quick happy baby, more intermediate would be a plow here, swinging your legs up over your body. That's actually going to be quite different. It's a posterior spinal stretch, so you go spinal flexion. Here it's more hip flexion. We don't really flex the spine at all there because your hips and your shoulders are on the floor. The hips lifting and curling up over the body create a big posterior back stretch. Intermediate would be plow. More just lighter would be the happy baby, just taking a few moments to reduce any residual sensations from the strong stretching. Now, when you're ready, grab your hamstrings. We're going to start rocking forward and back. We're going to make our way up to a seated position.
And we're going to swing our legs around, come to tabletop position. So the first good 15 minutes there, all that reclining yoga, getting into our second tier of the practice. If you'd like a good cat-cow, even though we did bridge and a little crunch, we didn't really do anything like this. So cat-cow is fantastic, and even taking your cat-cow to more circular. So if you're not sure, right, this kind of big circular, more creative type movement through your core, pelvis, shoulders, spine. We didn't do anything like that. So just getting that body moving in a little bit more freedom, dance-like, creative way. I say cat-cow, but it gets much more than that. I do like to suggest doing a couple very linear cat-cows though, right forward and back. Really squeezing a little bit deeper. That's very different than drawing these circular motions. So don't prefer one, do both. Okay, we'll meet back in tabletop. Quick wrist stretch here. Flip the back of your right hand down, palm face up. Just going to give you good 15, 20 seconds max here on each side. Pressing the back of the right hand down, rolling the crease of your right elbow forward, leaning back slightly. So just to be clear, I'm doing this one this morning.
So if I was on tabletop, my palm would be facing up like this. So it's not this one where the palm is down. You're more than welcome to do that as well. Just a little love and attention in the wrists is what I'm looking for. Okay, and then you can slowly roll, shake that wrist out a little bit, maybe wiggle your fingers. And then you're going to throw the back of your left hand down. Some of you are doing both sides. You're kind of on your own. You know, one of my anatomy teachers said something that sticks with me to today. I think this was in like 2013. He said, the way to build stronger wrists is to stress them, right? And it wasn't because it was massage. He was talking in regards to massage. The way to build stronger wrists is to stress them, and that is yoga. You know, your wrist, most likely your wrists hurt because they're weak in some of the lines, right? Just because you're good in one line doesn't mean they're going to be very stable. So, you know, I do actually planks on the back of my wrist. I do like weights because I'm a massage therapist, so I do all these wrist trainings, and you have to stress any body part to really strengthen it. Okay, downward dog is next. Yogis, let's get up there to our first big frontal inversion, it's called. If you're feeling excellent, you could always do like handstand or headstand already. No reason to always lock yourself in a little yoga box, having to do down dog first on a really good day. Some days I start practicing headstand. All right, so, you know, most days not. So down dog, you know, you might use it to pedal out your feet. Also notice how the strap stretching might open up your down dog a lot, how the back of the legs and the calves feel much more open. So you might be able to do a little bit more meditation here, trying to let your head hang low, lift those sit bones up and back, pressing the inner hand down, breathing smooth and deep in and out your nose. So it's slow flow this morning as of right now. Feel free to add things in. We got all regulars in here. Some days you move faster, some days we're going to move slower, right? Next position, high plank. Let's shift forward. Just a few moments in your plank today, not a super long hold. If you want more challenge, lifting a leg, hovering, and you can also add some push-ups if you want to add a little extra full body, upper body strength. We will do some chaturangas here, just so you're aware. I pretty much do push-ups like almost every day, even if it's just a few. Very simple, easy way to start to warm up those arms in weight-bearing exercise. And if you're hovering a foot, make sure you do your other here because we're almost done. Okay, so think slow flow, both movement and holding. Okay, downward facing dog. Inhale, right leg rises. Open up your hip. We already did strap stretching for the back of the leg. This is more of a front leg stretch. So I bring the leg behind me, right? So that's at a length in your front body, which is usually what's called a stretch. The strap had your leg in front of you the whole time, whether it was wide or across, it was still in front. This is leg in back. So think of it like that last missing piece of the strap. Okay, big inhale, right leg goes high. Take your time. We're going to shift the plank, bring the right knee to the forehead. You're more than welcome to do extra core work here, but we did leg swings already. Step your right foot forward. Let's find our first high lunge. So coming up to that high lunge. Just notice, yogis, if you arch your back, okay? I like to, some classes I'll like bend and straighten my knee a lot. Some days I hold really still, depends on what I need. Okay, a little bit different today, yogis. If you watch me here for a moment, just lean forward, step your back foot forward, chair posture, hold. Slow flow, so lunge in the chair. Okay, finding that chair pose, a little bit of up and down bouncing is fine, or adding your own flavors this morning. We've done so many different variations in arms, and leg movements, and core movements. You can add it in. Okay, listen, step your right foot back. Lunge, second side of your lunge, right? Hold. Big inhale. Now I want you to go slow here. Hands plan, left leg backing up, three-legged dog. Open up the hip. So some days we're just kind of like Sunday, a little bit more like fundamental. This week has been a interesting week of yoga. If you were in class yesterday morning, 8 a.m. was all kind of awkward, weird stuff. Core class this week was a little crazy and awkward as well. So just bringing it back, all right? Down dog, optional chaturanga here. Now taking it, inhale, high plank. Go slow to work that strength better. Remember, slower, smaller type movements are better for strength. Okay, faster, bigger range are not really best for strength. They're more for building range, fast twitch muscles, cardio, dynamic stretching, but not really for strength. Strength is smaller ranges, slower. All right, downward facing dog. Once you're there, left leg rises right back to left leg. I know we just did it. Open up the hip. So one more go at this nice kind of hip flexor, rotational waist and lower back stretch. Okay, big inhale, left leg high, go slow, shift the plank, left knee to forehead. Step your left foot slowly forward. Skillfully rise to your high lunge. If you want to add anything, that's fine. Second round, so you can get creative. You know, even just simple like throwing your hands behind your head, like opening the chest with a little bit more back bend is a subtle, nice way to change up this position. Or even bending your back knee a little bit more to a double bent lunge. I already did a couple twists, so I'll stay away from there now. Just work those legs more, okay? Now, can you lean a little forward, step your back foot forward, find that chair pose. We're getting our chairs and lunges done right now, all right? A lot of endurance on the leg. Think of this as, it's supposed to be difficult for your legs, all right? So sit low, reach high. Some of you are doing your own little thing there. Can you practice going into a space where you're very challenged mentally and physically and then maintaining that position? Your body wants to quit, but the mind rises above the weakness of the body. The mind must be stronger than the body. Okay, now keep the knees bent. Can you skillfully step your left foot back? It's going to be here for most of us. And then you're in the high lunge on your second final side here. I like to think of these like practices where we're doing the classic yoga stuff as just more grounding and you don't have to like think as much. Whereas we're doing all the weird stuff that I like to teach. You have to think too much and look out. What are we doing? What am I supposed to do? Am I doing it right? Here, it's like, you know this pose. You know the chair, you know the lunge, you know the chaturangas. So you can just be a little bit more, less outside of with your awareness, okay? Big inhale, hands plant, right leg goes back and up. Open your hip one more, last time here. And then a little moment here for some chaturanga. If you want to do a handstand hop, if you feel like you need a rest, child pose. Easier would be sphinx into child pose. Stronger would be, holding up dog, doing the reverse, doing things like low plank, up dog, low plank, extra push-ups, one-legged chaturanga. There is a posture, one-legged up dog, where the foot hovers. It usually is high-level intermediate yoga or middle-level intermediate yoga. Now you're going to meet back in that down dog. Okay, so take a breath or two to meditate after some postures. So we're halfway through class, which means we have to start hitting things like balance and bigger ranges of motion. All right, we already stretched, but I mean taking it to bigger ranges of motion and strength. All right, down dog, please. On your next inhale, bend your knees, look forward. Work on your hop or step, making your way skillfully to the front of your mat. Little bit different today, yogis. We're going to inhale, half lift. Exhale, forward fold. Widening the feet, taking it to yogi squat. Don't forget, you can always sit on a block if you feel like you need. Feet turn open, chest lifts, elbows inside knees. You're more than welcome to do your crow here, or right forearm in front of right thigh, left arm up and open. Spreading the chest. Left arm can go around the back, right arm can immediately rotate. So it's an internal rotation from the right shoulder. Then you bend the elbow, the hands meet behind your right hip.
Last breath or two on the first side. Just trying to hold yogi squat for a couple moments here. Inhaling back, yogi squat. Left arm down, right arm up. This is pretty tough work, yogis. This is considered quite difficult usually in yoga to hold this for a really long time while adding these kind of spreading, lifting of the chest and arms, and then maybe wrapping and binding. Last few moments in your yogi squat.
And a lot of styles of yoga, they're always talking about, you get people in yogi squat and you just make them hold for as long as you can, really. Okay. So that's really what we're doing, but I'm just giving you a little extra here with the arms and the rotation.
Please take your time. We're going to plant our hands, lift our hips, bend the knees, rise up. So even if I don't give the really detailed cues to release, try to move slow with awareness, even if you're not being led that way, okay? Stand up, please. Give it a little shake. So we're going to try something today, yogis. Postures we do a lot of, but a little bit more like moving. This is not easy. Go slow. Listen to your body. Left foot steps back. We're not going to do this in stretch mode today because we did strap stretching, okay? My right toes face forward. My back toes face angled open forward. I want you to think moving pyramid. You remember a few weeks ago we did this? It's the exact same thing, but now in full pyramid. So we're taking that further. I'm going to take my hands on my hips, pull my right hip back. If you want more, you could do hands behind your head or arms up, but maybe start here. Okay? You're going to inhale forward, pausing, trying to work on engaging the legs, the thighs, the core. And then you're going to use your core and strength, pull your belly in to come back up. And we're going to do one solid round of this. You're going to inhale forward, maybe pausing, working, exhaling back up, okay? And a moving pyramid.
Pyramid pose is when we kind of always go forward. We might pause there, but we don't get that repetition of kind of going back up. And that's the most functional probably aspect of the pose. If you bend over in life and you're not good at getting back up, that is injury territory. So we're practicing hinging from the hips.
Just to be clear, yogis, we do this constantly. Look, we go like this, right? It's the same exercise, but with the asymmetrical legs. Okay? So you do this a lot. Now you're trying it. Now listen, you might want your blocks. We're going to try something also right from here. Postures you know, done in a different way. We are in the peak, complex, mind-body movement challenges. So we're going to hinge, taking our hands on our blocks for most of us. Half pyramid or like half lifted pyramid. Now, if you'll watch me, I want you to focus on your hips. I'm going to turn my right hip under, my left hip open, inhale to triangle. So it's a little bit interesting because you're used to getting into this posture from already being open hip. Your right hip drives forward and over. Your left chest turns up and open. Inhale. Not going to hold. We already basically did it. Left hand down, exhale. Hips neutralize, right hip back. Left hand down, inhale, right arm out and open, revolve triangle. Exhale it down. Right hip drives under to the left. Left hip opens and stacks, inhale, triangle. This is big movements, yogis. Exhale, left hand down. Slow down, feel your core. Inhale, revolve, triangle. Right arm out and up. Just a few more.
So to be clear, our right foot remains forward. Our spine stays long. We are really challenging your spine and hip, ability to move and stabilize. So when in doubt, don't do it. Hold the pose. But most likely it is going to be very difficult because it's new. The body always has trouble firing in new ways, all right? It's going to hurt a little bit maybe. It's going to feel restricted, achy. That's normal. You remember when you started yoga, how achy and restricted you felt, but now you've changed. So this is just a way of doing something in a more challenging way that you're used to. Not going to have you hold today. When both hands are down, bend your front knee, rise up, step your back foot forward, please. Shake it out a little bit. Now, to neutralize here, yogis, high knees, hip movements like this. So that's a circling of your hip, right? And it's a circling of your core. So it's a really nice one. Another nice neutralizer could just be a little back bend, because that was like all forward bending, right? So a little back bend here, or even like a little, hinge, okay? Big challenging stuff now. Right foot goes back, 2 parts. First is just a hinge practice. One of the most functional exercises you could ever practice. Practicing bending over and up, okay? Inhale, we hinge. We pause. Exhale, strong legs, core, back. We stand up, squeezing those thighs and abs. Inhale, we hinge. Exhale, we rise. Go ahead. So I did the strap stretching on purpose because it's going to reduce what's called muscular resistance. You can't bend over as easy if your hamstrings, hips, calves are all tighter. So just trying to make this easier for you, reducing that path, the resistance on that path of movement. And some of you guys are starting to get to it already. Our second part is to keep your spine. Now, just to be clear, we do this with our hands off the floor eventually. You do not put your hands down. Just like we work on triangle, not putting our hands down, you don't put your hands down there. It's all core, spine, and legs, all right? The arms are gonna work a lot, activating like this, right? So you inhale, driving your left hip forward and under, right arm out and up for triangle. You might have to pivot on your foot a little bit in the back there. You don't have to, but to start, it's okay. Right hand comes down, inhale, left arm goes up and open. I was teaching this yesterday in an in-person class, and someone after class kept thinking, it's not triangle. She kept trying to say that it wasn't triangle that we were doing. And I was like, yes, it is. Well, and I said, you mean it wasn't triangle? You weren't doing triangle, but I was. So it's a little confusing, this movement. I understand. You might have to turn the hips and the feet a little bit. So just try to find it. It's like a puzzle. You got to figure it out. You're inhaling into a open hip triangle. You're exhaling down to like a half lifted pyramid. And then you're inhaling to a revolved triangle. Last few tries. Work hard here, yogis, because I got planned to tighten up your front back body symmetrically. All right, after this, because this is really a big challenge for your back. Take it slow. You don't have to go fast. You do 3 reps, you're doing good. Think of it like, I want to get back into running. You're not going to go out and run 20 miles first day, right? You start with 1 to 2 miles, and you're probably really sore. So, pace yourself. Don't go crazy if something in your mind is telling you this is a lot. Okay. So when you're done with that side, you're going to meet upright. You're going to neutralize high knees, hips swiveling, back bending, shaking it out. Okay. And we got one last standing thing today. This is our balance. It's the exact same thing done on one leg. It's called Warrior 3, and it's called Half Moon. All right. After this, we're basically going to do one quick inversion in our active back bend. So you're going to meet standing. So what did we do first? Hip hinging. Standing split or Warrior 3. So we're going to keep our hands on our hips here, yogis. Okay. And we're going to hover that left foot. Last thing here today, guys. Last thing standing. We're going to inhale forward to our Warrior 3. Think of it like your second round, okay? Exhaling back up. Same exact side. Inhale. Left pinky toe faces down. Is my knee bent here? Yeah, definitely in the beginning for sure. So you're going to do these, right? Inhale. Exhale. Inhale. Now I'm going a little fast so you can see it
like as a system.
But ideally, you can pause and kind of control, stop your body at any inch in that motion. Yoga becomes fairly easy when you set that intention. It might take a year or two of that style of practice, but then you get into these vinyasa classes and hatha and everything. If you can pause, practice the idea of pausing in every moment to be able to stop, control. I don't like to say all yoga is easy, but it kind of is, because you have slowed down your mind and body enough to gain muscle memory in every single inch of the movements. So just try to remember that. If I demonstrate too fast, if your mind is moving too fast, slow it down.
Now, here's the tough part. Peak dynamic, okay? You're going to pause in your warrior three. Hands on blocks. Drop your left hip down, lift your left leg up. What do you think we're going to do? Inhale, half moon. Exhale, supported warrior three. Inhale, revolved half moon. Exhale, supported warrior three. Notice, as I turn open, I probably bend my standing knee. My right hip does drive forward. My left arm goes out and open. Only a few, not too many. Last couple tries. Inhale, half moon. Exhale, supported warrior three. Inhale, revolved half moon. So remember, your hips do turn open on half moon, and then your left hip drops way down in warrior three. Last try or two. This is a lot of bent over practice. All right, so we will be back bending after this. This is also intermediate, guys. Usually, you'd want people to be fairly decent at warrior three, half moon, and revolved half moon before you kind of do it like this, okay? Back to warrior three, slowly stand up and take a moment to neutralize. We're lacking back bend in there, so that would be my favorite. We're kind of like moving the legs a little bit. Or the most complex would be this again, okay? I just call it like the big hip swivel, or I don't know a technical name for this one. Last standing, go ahead. One-legged hip hinging.
I often say, like, almost every class we do our warrior three in some way. And here it is, moving today. Yeah, you can do more. Like some of you are bringing your knee up into your chest. That's a fun thing we do often. We've done this where we step back to lunge and like kind of kick forward, adding like a little martial arts almost. That's fun. When you're ready, you stay in warrior three. They call it supported or assisted warrior three. So hands on your blocks. It's a beginner warrior three. And then you start to do this kind of big rotational. So what's cool about this is it's abduction, adduction in your legs. All right, go ahead, inhale, half moon, driving your left hip under and forward, stacking your right hip up. Then exhale, right hand slowly down. Try to work that as a core hip stabilizing action. The idea is to stabilize and be able to move your hips and core together. Just doing one together really isn't that functional. One itself is not that functional. If you want the elite core, your hips have to be able to stabilize with your abdominals and your lower back at the same time. That's how I can practice handstand anytime, anywhere. Because a lot of times people are doing like too much exercise where they're isolated, but not training them together. That's why Nautilus machines are like, there's just no real functional point. I'll do a few Nautilus machines once, twice a week, like a couple, but I'm doing so much compound training that it's more like a little supplement when I'm feeling like lazy, let's say. If I'm tired, I'll like sit on a Nautilus machine and like extend my knees or abduct my hips. It's good for hypertrophy if you want really big muscles, but not really function. And when you're done, yogis, neutralize for a moment standing. And what I want you to do is just stand up. And let me just show you how this relates to yoga. Now we do this stuff all the time. We'll like stand up, we'll bind. What do? We're warrior 3, right? We open up, that's half moon. What do? We close, that's revolved half moon. That's the same. We actually did the exact same thing on our back. We held here, we went here, and we went here. Same thing, just done in a very weight-bearing, complex way. Last little subtle standing exercise, just calf raises. I just want to see you do this a few times. Remember, calf raises should be done pretty much, almost every day, not maybe 5 days a week. It really will change your gait, like how you walk. It will change your leg strength tremendously. It will make you extremely, much more athletic at any age. You'll be able to run way better, walk upstairs way better, downstairs way better, downhill better, uphill stronger. So it's a very simple way to really change your leg strength. And it's so simple. You do not need any warm up. You can do it anytime, anywhere. Just remember that. Calf raises regularly. All right, let's make our way down to our prayer. Sun salutation, okay? Step to the front. Nice big inhale. Symmetry, please. So you're thinking kind of resetting your front and back body. Exhale, forward bend. You're at your pace. Inhale, half lift. High plank, low plank, please. Down dog. All right, yogis. So we're going to make our way down to the chest. So we have to think activating back body. We were bent over so much. So we need to think spinal extension and hip extension compound, ideally symmetry. All right, we did so much asymmetries just now. We really don't need any more. All right, we're pretty much done with any twisting. So it's called locust to start. I think everyone knows it. Arms wide. We've been doing a lot of this today. So if you want to do something like this, or arms wide, down by your sides or forward, that's fine. But doing a lot of this is actually really good because our arms are always in front. It's going to correct posture subtly. It's considered a pull, right? So let's do it. 2 rounds, locust pose. If you want to go bow pose, that will also totally work here. Something to really activate your back body. Let's lift up everything. Make sure it's active. I'm not really stretching here. Come on, you got to work here, yogis. You got to focus. You got to slow down. You got to feel. Pull your belly in as you lift the chest and the legs. Straighten your knees more. Squeeze your legs together. Point your toes. Relax the back of your neck a little bit. All right. Everyone's at a different pace, but I sometimes can hold locust for I think of it like a plank, right? I'll hold for multiple minutes. Some days I go up and down. Some days I can't really hold that long, just depends on where I'm at. Okay, so for your body this morning, I want you to take a little rest between your 2 rounds. Reverse plank would be another fantastic, let's call it back body activator after all the back body lengtheners. So reverse plank would be superpower. Oh, wheel pose could also work here. So let's do one more round. And what we're going to do after this is like a quick inversion on the Sunday morning. So we're going to either put legs up the wall. I might give you the opportunity for side plank, dolphin, headstand, handstand at the wall. And that's going to be the last strenuous thing of class, all right? Nice. Nice, Stella. Working that back bend. Even the modern exercise science talks about strengthening your back body, how we kind of always can see our front body a lot. So we just tend to unknowingly put a lot more focus into that part of ourselves, our abs. I'm sure most of us strengthen our abs more than our lower back. I'm sure most of us tighten our hip flexors way more than our butt, our thighs more than our hamstrings. So, just remember that We want to make sure a good emphasis on strengthening our back body. All right, yogis, child pose is next. Nice job there, everyone. So listen, soft inversions is legs up the wall, maybe mixed with child pose. Stronger middle space inversions are down dog, three-legged dog, dolphin, maybe dolphin with one leg lifted. If you want to put your block under your butt, that's kind of middle ground, and legs up the wall, laying on your back. If you want to do shoulder stand, that's usually considered middle ground. Fullest body inversion. So that's that first time where you're going to get really inverted. Plow into shoulder stand, hands on lower hips, legs up. Headstand hold. Now we're getting the strong. Headstand hold is that first tier in the strong. Super strong would be the handstand and the forearm stand. Try to get something you can hold. So that's why I said a wall. You can do a few where you're trying to jump up, but maybe you work on that inverted hold. I'm going to give you about 2 minutes. Classic style of yoga here. Try to get the body upside down to the best degree possible. And hold. Nice, Stella. Nice, Donna. Look there. Good job, Leslie. So, also we didn't do too much weight bearing on the arms. If you wanted to do like a little side plank, that's a really fantastic way to make the arms work quickly. They talk about like ways to train your arms. If you can't do pull-ups or like handstand, side plank, is one of the best arm trainers there is. Max weight on the arm. You got time for another round, or some of us are working on meditating in our inversions. So when you're doing the power stands, even like shoulder stands start, you do want to work on engaging your legs initially. Just trying to work on like stacking the body more efficiently. The novice in inversions tends to have weight moving and all over the place, and the advanced is very stacked and aligned in the center midline. So we're using muscle activations to set more intention behind the position, more intelligence and awareness. But then, just to be clear, the master is very relaxed. So you don't like clench your legs in headstand as a master. When I went for my longest headstand hold, I think it was about 6 months ago. In the beginning, I was activating a little, but then I'm like relaxing my legs up as much as possible to conserve energy. So just some food for thought. Last good 30 seconds. When in doubt, legs up the wall and child pose are our easiest inversions. All right. So to end practice today, yogis, I'm going to do a few stretches, and what I'm going to do is guide you into your meditation to close, and then kind of hope you'll do it on your own. Okay. So I think we should start stretching. I do want to do a big front body stretch. We really didn't do many. We did bridge and locust. They're both strengtheners. So I want a big stretch for our front body, which would be the virasana or the frog pose. So just to be clear, I'm talking about this frog. This frog to stretch our front body. Okay, this is actually bigger than virasana, right? But virasana would be this one. Knees together. So I think everyone knows this one. So I'll just leave out some of the details. You don't need to hear the cues thousands of times. Okay, so you can see both postures are bending your knees deep. So you're either here going back, or you're here starting in Sphinx, not rotating, just going here. This one's going to be a little bit better for like your hip crease, hip flexor, whereas Virasana is probably going to be a little bit better for like your ankles, shins, and maybe put lower thigh. And there's softer variations, laying on your side, gripping the foot, even standing up, kind of reaching down to grab that foot. If you're doing one side, maybe switch it up, please. Close your eyes. Slow down a little bit. Right, so the peak antagonizing of the nervous system is done. The peak like functional stress. We started with like lunges and chairs and holding planks, and then we went into like crazy hinges and rotations and open hips, and then we did the locust, and that was basically into the inversion, right? So that was peak neural challenge is done. It's more like now I have to calm a little bit, all right? And I'm going to teach one more hip opener. If there is another thing you want to do, I'm going to do Gomukhasana because we haven't really been doing that one that much. It's a fantastic deep hip and IT band opener. So I want you to finish up your front body stretch. And think of this as your final like outer body and back body stretch. So easier is Sukhasana. I think we did that yesterday. But Gomukhasana, instead of crossing my shins, from a seated position, cross my right heel outside my left knee, swing the left heel around. So just notice my bottom knee is in like a pigeon. My right sit bone attempts to get on the floor inside that that left heel. Notice the outer edge of my feet turn down, not the sole, and I pull my feet back, working on stacking my knees more, okay? Now, you're gonna already, most likely, I feel a stretch right here. You can just meditate and breathe. Some of us might wanna go forward for more of a compression variation. If you want the arms, you might have your strap handy. Left arm up, strap down the back, elbow in, right hand out, palm face behind, grabbing your strap. So one more shoulder stretch here, now forward folding. Try to breathe, just a few breaths this morning. I tend to do Gomukhasana personally more than pigeon. I don't feel pigeon as much. I think people who are frontline dominant tend to need pigeon a little bit more. I tend to be backline dominant, so I like this, like, tend to feel this one a little bit more, and I feel like I need it. So that's when I say you need a hip opener, you can personalize it. Let's slowly sit up and release our strap, please. And you're just gonna switch sides, so leg shake. Your left heel would go outside your right knee. You're kind of getting both hips twice, so we don't need to hold that as long. Right heel swings around, outer edge of feet down, pull your feet back. Eventually your knees will like stack. I like to show you with my arms, right? It's like this, where Sukhasana is like this, double pigeon is stacked. Gomukhasana is like this. Lotus is something like this, right? Where the legs are wrapped around each other. Lotus could work here, by the way. Let's go for it, yogi. Second side, few breaths. So what I'd like you to do is, finish up your hip stretch. And if there's one little thing you'd like to do, reach and touch your toes or a spinal twist, you got about a minute here for one last pose. But I think we did enough. And just to be clear, yogis, today is pretty strong in the middle there with that rotational hinging. So you might be sore. Just remember that soreness sometimes is needed to kind of grow and change the body. Just think therapeutics. Tomorrow, more stretching, light movements, hot and cold therapy, water therapy, an extra hour or two of sleep where we can really reduce extra amino acids, can significantly increase recovery and reduce soreness. Um, that's what the athletes do, right? They'll take like the essential amino acid tablets, the 99% available, and they like wake up and they're not sore. 5,000 uh, milligrams. Talked about that. It's one of my favorite things to use if you're protein deficient, especially. All right. So when you're ready, guys, let's start to get toward meditation. A couple of you still going. And basically, you know the deal. I just want you to practice now calming and centering. And ideally, you don't leave the position until you really feel a shift in your mind, body, and energy. Uh, your heart rate slows, your skin starts to really calm, your eyes start to relax, your breath rate really slows to it's almost like you're not breathing. Okay. So get really comfortable here. Fidget a little bit to start if you need. Take a deep breath or two. And then just start to let your body rest here. Now, ideally, you'd go, 5, 10, or even 15 minutes if you have it. Like they say, you found Shavasana and can leave it once you do not want to leave it. That's how you know you're really in it, right? You don't want to leave it, you're in the real Shavasana. So I will leave you here, yogis. I got to run to my next class. Really nice job today. Yoga Core is on 9 a.m. on Tuesday, all right? Namaste, yogis. Krishna.